Hello everyone, welcome to another episode of Nina Ribena's Art Journal Prompts and More. It's October week 4 and this week we're going to be doing something with the masterboards that we created, was it last month? The dreaded C word is not too far around the corner, so I thought this is a good opportunity to, make cards and gifts and that kind of thing. So I've got a few ideas, so let's get started. So I went off to my local printers yesterday and I've just had 2 copies done. I went armed with some A3 size mixed media paper. Most printers are quite happy to print things out on a substrate of your choice if you take it with you. As you can see, colour wise not too bad, slightly duller. You will end up with a border around your prints and that's just to be expected. Cost wise, I get asked questions all the time about how much does it cost. In my printers they charge £2 per A3 size, which I think is very reasonable. So for £4, which is the equivalent of $3.50, I've got 2 huge pieces of paper to work with. So let's see what we can come up with. Now I've cut my piece of mixed media paper into 2 pieces. I've just cut it equally down the centre, so 8 1/4. Let's take this one here. The fact that I've got rough edges doesn't worry me in the slightest. Now I've got a piece of craft cardstock. I think this is 200 GSM, so quite nice and thick. And I want to back these together, something like that. I can trim around the edges afterwards, so that's absolutely fine. But what you need to do is decide with craft cardstock which side you want facing out. I want the slightly paler, more textured side, so I'm going to apply some glue to this area here. Now, which glue will I use? In fact, what I'm going to do is I'm going to use a glue stick. I need another one. This one's just about to run out. Let me get another one at the ready. Here we go. I always I get these from Costco and they come in a pack of 24. So I've always got lots of spares. So I am going to apply my glue all around the edges, focusing on applying plenty here, and I'm going to strengthen this with some Fabri-Tac as well. Just because I don't think that glue stick with this thick card is going to be strong enough to hold everything down, but it will certainly, give me a base, and it's certainly much easier to work with as well. So let me just, apply some glue over this, and then I'll add some Fabri-Tac, as I say, in the centre. So just make sure that you've got a good coat around the edges. Where is my Fabri-Tac? Here we go. Let's give this a shake, and I'm just going to apply some of that all over as well. I'm only adding the Fabri-Tac to the centre because I don't want it bleeding out around the outside and ending up with a horrible mess. So this should be enough. Just to stick everything down really firmly without it coming undone. And of course these 2 glues dry really quickly as well. So I'm just going to sandwich these together like that, and then I'm just going to weight this down. As I've said, I'm not worried about the fact that I've got rough edges, because we can trim this, which will make it look much neater once everything is dry. So that's been trimmed really nicely. I'm happy with that. I'm going to leave it for 10 minutes or so just to make sure that the glue is set. But in the meantime, I'm going to take a Sharpie marker and very carefully I'm just going to go around the outside. I'm going to do this off camera because it's very easy to slip and end up with a line in the center of your artwork, which of course you just don't want. So I'm just going to carefully go around the outside like this, and the purpose of that is to get rid of the white marks that you can see where the pages have been glued together. So my cover is glued together nicely. You can tell when the glue is still wet because it's still really floppy and flexible, whereas now this is nice and firm. And you can see as well that I've already scored my journal pages. Now I'm using a Hoogie board, which is just a scoreboard. Any make will do. I must admit, you don't need one of these, but it does make life a lot easier. Now, I've used a stylus, the largest ball tip on my stylus, just to score my lines. Now, I decided that I wanted my journal to be about 4.5 inches. You could, of course, you know, score right in the centre, easy done, but I wanted a flap. I wanted mine to fold over like that, so I've scored it at 4.5 inches, and then I just flipped my scoreboard over because mine is inches and centimetres, and I just worked out the most convenient place to score outside of that central line. So I've just scored here like that, and job done. Now, I find with journals that the most wear and tear is on these edges here, so I have decided that I am going to just round my edges off. This, because it's thick cardstock, is going to take some pressing. Here we go, just with one of these X-cut paper rounders. So I'm going to do this on all 4 corners. I'm going to do it on those and the ones on the inside as well. So of course I'm going to need to go back in with my Sharpie marker, because of course now I've got some white edges again. Just as I say, be really careful when you do this, because it's just easy to slip and just end up with a horrible mark where you don't want it. Now, I just want to add a little pocket to the inside cover of my journal. There's no need to measure anything here. I mean, as you know, my journal measures 4.5 inches, so I just think that 3.5 inches is about the right size to fit on the inside pocket. So 3.5 times 2 is 7, and a little bit left over for the flap, 9 inches for instance. So, you know, that's what I've got there, and let me show you how to make it. Now, I'm going to be using a piece of craft paper that I got from Tiger. This is A4 size, and I've just trimmed it to 9 inches, just under 9 inches. And I want it to measure 3.5 inches wide, which will fit my journal really nicely. So I'm just going to score at 3.5 inches, just like that. So it will fold that over. And then of course I've got this flap at the end. Let's have a look, see if we can do it on this side. I'm going to flip over. I'm not measuring anything here, I'm just eyeballing. So I'm just going to use this score line here, which will just give me a little bit of extra, just to fold it over without it being too close to the crease, to the outside edge here. So that can go over like that. Really liking how that's looking. And so now I just need to create the concertina. So the concertina like this, and that's just so that, you know, when everything's glued together, that I've just got a bit of flexibility to open and pop things in. So I'm just going to take my envelope and I'm going to score at 2 centimetres. Whoops, hold it flat. So 2 centimetres here. There we go. Can you see what I'm doing? And then go in 1 centimetre and another 1 centimetre. And then I'm going to do exactly the same thing on the other side. So 2. And you can see that I'm only doing it to this fold here, and you'll see why in a second. So 2, 1 and 1. You can do this by hand, you don't need a scoreboard, as I say. And then I'm just going to cut. In fact, what I'll do now is, so we've got that there. In fact, let's go all the way up, just so that we make sure we get it in the right place. So I'm just adding another line there on the inside, the outer inside fold, and then I'm going to cut this excess away. So I'm just going to trim here. In fact, what I'll do is I'll just go at a slight angle as well, and I'm going to use that guide. Can you see it? And I'm going to trim all of this excess away. So we'll go all the way down like this, and I'll do exactly the same thing then on the other side. And so now I'm just going to fold on those score lines I made. I'll use my knife here. You could use a bone folder, and then I'm just going to concertina it out on the other fold I've made. So we'll just crease that nicely, and then on the other one, here we go, and we'll do exactly the same thing then on the other side. And before I start gluing anything down, I'm just going to use my paper corner rounder just to round off these corners, just to make it, you know, nice and neat. That just gives it a much nicer finish. And then I just want to add some red score tape to these edges here. So I've got my red score tape, and I'm just going to add just a little bit of tape. Here we go, just all the way to the edge. Trim that off, and I'll do exactly the same thing then on the other side. And we can peel the tape off. Just use a pokey tool, that makes life a lot easier. And then we can just carefully stick things down. Just make sure that it's tucked in nicely. There we go, like that. And that just gives us a nice concertina, so that we've got a pocket with some room to actually put some things in. Now I just want to make a closure for my envelope. I was going to use a circle punch, but my circle punch, my small one, isn't working. So we'll use this flower one instead, improvisation. So I'm going to punch 4 like this, and just to give it a bit of stability, I'm going to glue them together. Just to make them a bit stronger. So we'll add a touch of glue. This is Fabri-Tac, just in the centre, like that. Whoops-a-daisy. So we'll have that there. So there we are. Just to make it a bit stronger, and that will look really pretty actually. So that will be a bit of a design feature. I'm going to do exactly the same with this one here. So those have stuck together, and I'm just going to add a touch of glue here, because I'm just going to glue one to the outside of my little envelope like that. I only want a little bit of glue, and you can see as well that I've made a dot in the centre of the flower, because I'm going to punch through that in a second with my crocodile. So I've got my crocodile at the ready. I want the largest hole, and I'm just going to punch it in the centre and hope that it's in the right place. Well, there we go, I've gone for it now. Not too bad, not too bad. There we go. And then I just want to use an eyelet. Let's have a look. I've got my little tray of eyelets here. What colour do I want to have? I need to make sure that I've got 2 the same. Those ones will do. Let's take these out of the packet. Here we go, those 2 will do nicely. And I'm just going to use my eyelet again, just to secure that in place. There we go. And then I just need to secure this one here as well. Now, of course, I've just come to the realisation that my crocodile, with the best will in the world, is just not going to reach right down into my pocket. So time for some improvisation. I am going to use my awl just to punch a hole through the centre, like this. Be careful when you're using these, they are lethal. I've stabbed myself, as I said last week, many a time. And then I'm just going to use a brad. What have I done with it? I had one more or less the same colour. Here we go. And I'm just going to pop that through the centre. So here we go, I've managed to get that through. I'm just going to poke a hole here as well, making sure that I'm holding the inside so that I just don't go right the way through. And then I'm just going to have to prise those apart on the inside of the envelope. So if I hold the envelope up, I don't know whether you can see inside there, but I've just prized the prongs apart. Now I've just got some string that has come off a clothing tag, and I'm just going to tie that in a knot around there like that. So we'll just tie that in a knot, and then I'll be able to wrap that around as a closure. So I think that looks really, really cute. So there we go, and I'll be able to wrap that around like so. So now all I need to do is just glue that to the inside of my cover. So I just need to glue that down. I'm going to use some Fabri-Tac just around the edges, just to glue that in place, not too much. There we are, that should be enough. Stick the lid back on. If your Fabri-Tac gets too gloopy and stiff, just use some acetone or alcohol, isopropyl alcohol, just to thin it out a little bit. So I think that's about central, so I'm just going to glue that in place, and then I'm just going to have to weight that down for a minute or two. You can see that I've trimmed my string. So just to finish this project off, I've got 6 pages for my signature here, and I have used the Arteza mixed media pad. This is their premium pad, £110 paper, because I just like to have books like this to use as journals. I just think they're really nice for doodling in, you know, just sketching and that kind of thing. Now I have measured, you can see that I've already created my holes. I've measured the center of my page and then an inch in at either end. You can see as well that you know, I've rounded my corners off in exactly the same way, and I'm going to sew them in with some waxed thread. This is, let's have a look, half a millimeter waxed thread. So I'm just going to go in from the center like this. I've got about 2.5 the width of my journal for my thread, so I'm going to go in from the inside like this, leave myself a bit of a tail, go back in through the outside. If I can find the hole that I made, where's it gone? There it is. This is the fiddliest part. Here we are. So hold on to your tail so that you don't lose it. Then back in through the other end like this, and then back in through the center. I'm not taking too much time to show you this, because you've seen me do it a million times before. This is just called a basic pamphlet stitch, and there are many videos on YouTube showing you how to do this. Very, very easy. Now what you want to do is make sure that you've got one thread on one side and one on the other. Pull it tight, grab one in one direction, one in the other. Let me just get rid of that little bit of debris there, and then tie it in a knot, and that's it. Before you tie it, just make sure that it's secure on all of the sides, and we'll just tie it in a double knot just to secure it like this. And of course, you know, if you gift this away, somebody can always snip the signatures when they're full and replace them. Just use the existing holes just to, you know, add a completely brand new signature. Now, just to finish things off and just, you know, make things look polished, I've punched out another couple of these flowers out of my little flower punch. That's what that looks like, and I'm going to glue them together. This is just to add stability. Come on, glue. Again, I'm using Fabri-Tac. I need to top this up. I haven't got much left. Not too much, because you don't want it all spurting out of the edges. You can see as well that I've already put a little dot on the outside, so I'm going to use a touch more Fabri-Tac. In fact, I've already marked the centre there, and I'm just going to place that down like that. So we shall use the crocodile just to punch a hole. In fact, I just need to get rid of the debris so that I can see what I'm doing. So we'll punch a hole are. And then we'll have that on the outside like that. So I'm just going to use the eyelet setter just to squeeze that closed like that. And there we have it. I can now put some string through to use that as a closure. So that's how it looks, and I just think having the flower on the other side just, you know, makes it look much more polished and finished. I've got some jute garden twine as well, which I am just going to loop through like this, just as a closure. And then that can be wrapped around the journal just like that, and then just, you know, wrapped around there just to close it. And I just think that's really sweet. So what else can we do? Now, I know that I'm not the only one that hoards onto boxes and packaging and that kind of thing, because you've admitted it to me yourselves. I've got this lovely box from Pig and Hen. This had a bracelet inside it. It was either Stevens or Sam's. I think they had one each. Far too nice to throw away. It's just balsa wood. So let's see what we can do with this. I've got the other half of my background, and I'm just going to cut a piece out here. I've just put the lid on, marked it with a pencil, so I'm just going to trim this to size. So I've cut a small piece that I know is going to fit the lid of my box. Now my box measures, what have we got here, 4 inches by 4 inches. So I think I'm going to trim this to 3 3/4. Now I always think it looks nice when you ink around the edges, you know that. I'm using Stays On ink to do this, and I'm using Midnight Blue as opposed to black, just because I think for this black would be a little bit harsh perhaps. But you know, at the end of the day, just use what you have. And then I'm going to glue that using some Fabri-Tac. You want something nice and strong to the outside of my box. Now that's all glued down, but I've also got some branding on the outside of my box as well, just on the one edge, but I do want to cover it up. And I've got these ribbons here that I picked up from the works. I've had these for probably, I don't know, 2 or 3 years at least, so don't expect to be able to get them now. But I'm thinking that maybe that one would go really well. I really like that one, and also that blue one as well. But no, I think I'm going to use this one here. The width is absolutely perfect, so I just need to get rid of this horrible tape, and again I'm just going to use Fabri-Tac to glue that down. So I'm just going to apply a bead. In fact, let me just take that off, because I don't want to glue the box rigidly shut by accident. So I'm just going to apply some glue to the center like this. Oh, whoops daisy, come back. And just glue this down. This is really fiddly, trying to hold it up for the camera. There we are. Not too much here, because Fabri-Tac has a tendency to bleed through if you're not careful. This is nice and thick, but you see that has covered up all of that branding. So I'm just going to go all the way around on all of the other sides. Isn't that lovely? I'm really happy with that. I think it looks so cute with the ribbon around the outside. It's got Pig and Hen on the inside lid as well. I like that, and I think I'm going to leave that be. You could of course cut a piece and cover it up, but you know, I quite like that. So now what I want to do, I'm going to fill mine with greetings cards, and so they need to be you know, to allow a bit of room, 3 1/4 by, I think this is square, by 3 1/4. Now, when you're making your own greetings cards, especially when they're to fit a specific size box, just make sure that everything fits. You need to work with the envelope size first. Now, I'm going to be using my envelope punch board because it's just easy peasy. And the nearest measurement for the envelope is 3 by 3 inches. So it tells me here that I need to cut a piece of paper that measures 4 1/4 by 4 1/4 inches, which is what I've got here. And then I I need to score at 2 5/8. So this is your score line at the top, and this is just to show you how easy it is. So 2 5/8, you line it up. So, you know, this piece of paper has been cut to 5 1/4. Punch, that's your little indent, and then you get a tool. Whoops daisy, I've got some sellotape or something stuck to it. Oh, get off. You score along this line here, and then all you do, you can see that's where the punch has gone here. Then you line it up. You've got this dial here, and all you need to do then is just line the dial up with the first mark, punch again, score, move it around to the dial, line it up with the dial, punch, score, move it round, line it up with the dial, punch, and score. And that's your envelope. Easy peasy. Now there is a punch at the top here. Mine isn't very good, I have to say, so I prefer to use my circle punch here, my corner punch. So I'm just going to go around all of the edges like that, and then you just fold it in. So fold it in at the sides, fold it up at the bottom, and then of course you can fold it over at the top, and that is your envelope done. And then all you need to do is just apply a small, very small amount of glue. My bottle's nearly run out. Oh, come on you. See if I can get enough glue out to do this. Oh, I might have to top it up. Come on, here we go. So just a small amount of glue just along the edge here, not very much at all, because otherwise it will just squirt out all around the edges. And then just fold that up, and then you just need to weight that down, and that's your envelope done. Easy peasy, simple as that. So, cards to fit my 3x3 envelope. Measure 3x3 because the envelope punch board allows you a little bit extra. So there we go. This measures 3x3. Let me just show you. So 3 by 3, and I've cut my card to just under 3 by 3, 2 7/8, and so again I'm just going to apply a little bit of Fabri-Tac over the back of my card, not very much at all, not going too far towards the edge because of, you know, as I've said before, I just don't want it bleeding out over the edge. So, you know, that's plenty. And just stick this down, and then I've got some lovely homemade greetings cards. So there we go, and just weight that down with a book. And so I've made 6 cute greetings cards, and I've got some more of the jute string here. So let's see if we can tie these together neatly. Oh dear me. Tie it in a bow like this. And then of course we can trim that. Where's my scissors? And stick those in our cute little box. And how cute is that as a nice little gift? I'm going to leave that there for today. I really enjoyed making these 2 projects, and I just think this little box with the greeting cards in is so cute. I've decided I am going to keep the pig and hen logo, and I'm toying with the idea of painting the pig pink, which was Steve's idea. What do you think? Shall I or shan't I? But I just think that's really cute, and the fact that I've used craft cardstock and the jute twine in both projects, then, you know, they could go out as a set. So really happy with those. And let's just remind you of the journal as well. I'm really pleased with the envelope inside this. I think it's really finished that off nicely. It's sort of like a traveller's notebook style. I love these flowers as well. I just think that adds a really nice touch to this as well. And I'm liking this Arteza mixed media paper. It's got a really nice texture to it. So that's that. Now, of course, because I had my mixed media paper, my Masterboard photocopied, then of course I can have this printed out as many times as I like. I've still got one A3 sheet left, plus the bits and pieces left over from the project today, but it just gives you the option to, you know, make many different projects. Now of course, if you haven't got a printers, then, you know, just make more than one Masterboard. So I've got all of these scraps left over from today's project. I've got lots of ideas for things to make with these Masterboards, so, you know, I'll be back again with more ideas soon, but I look forward to seeing what everybody else decides to do with theirs. If you enjoyed my project today, as always, I'd really appreciate a thumbs up, and do let me know what you think in the comments below, and take care everyone. I'll see you all again soon. Thanks for watching.